So, welcome everybody to the final performance of the Aeroponic Acts 2020. Do we have everybody here? I have to do a little check. Yes, beautiful. Again, welcome everybody to the final performance of the Aeroponic Acts 2020 Bandit. I'm really disappointed this year with applauses. Mark Norbert Erler presents Phonemic Transmutation, Grammar and Glamour. The question is, pitch your voice slightly higher than natural, the vowels are long, all the consonants aspirated. How to cast a glamour. Mark.
Thank you for performing the question, Julia. I'll get right into it. Ein Phonem ist die kleinste morphologische Einheit, die die Meaning von einem Wort verändert, was zu zauberspruchartigen Bildern und alliterativen Beschwören führt. Grammar und Glamour zeichnen die Reibungen von phonemischer Poetik nach, die historische Kontingenz von Vokabular und ihre welterschaffendes Potenzial wie eine absichtsvolle phonemische Aufmerksamkeit und transmutationische Alchemie. Die Stimmungen klingen übersprachlich auf sinnlichen Ebenen außerhalb vom Sicht- und Hörbaren, übersteigen grammatologische Einschränkungen und greifen nach der glamourösen Kunst von der Zunge.
valleys and that's where I see it and pronounce like silently to myself, smoking each syllable and blowing them in to the air as swoops to a noted soul. And the softly sighs of burn concern will lean the organism with everything around. And particular interpretation for some time. The partition of orientation on through my whisks, looking for an archaeology of but rather immediately ebbing away to reform strands of thoughts woven into a couplet of pristine charm as in spell. The rinker sounding vowels and echoing, they make me wander and wander on pulse and on the future. is blushing, blush and shudder in the blue, so that the thoughtfully and irritated global traces surface probably semantic chorus hitting the bodies from all protectives and blending sweat with saliva, and thus the peace and peace, spitting the traces of sensual protocols that kneeling on the floor, the sons evaporate to the road, and the evolving climate becomes a magical space in which I do not know what I speak. Oh, my love's only feel how the plosive appearance affect reasons they trust much to breathe.
knowledge to breathe, capillaries or factories. Sensuous knowledge to breathe. Thanks.
Yeah, should I? Who would like to go? Okay. If I hadn't cried earlier, I would have started crying now. I mean, I mean, I don't know if I'm done. I'm gonna go to my hotel and actually have another really good cry. Your creation, your creation made me appreciate this cavernous room. Once again, I felt, I experienced in a lived sense what it means to create a resonance. And again, my hat is off to you in terms of what you've just enabled us to experience. And I love this phrase, a transmutational alchemy. It's a fantastic phrase, and I just feel like that's you've made it, you embodied it, you made all of us embody it, and what a way to end 3 intense days. So thank you for that. I was again. I mean, I think so much now about going back to this word and what does it mean materially through a practice of sound, through a practice also of the paralinguistic. To create the conditions of a resonance. And this is what I felt as well, your connection with your technology, your media assemblage, you actually enabled us to think, what are the conditions that one would need to create a resonance? And that to me is a transcendental proposition. Once again, that to me brings us to the very heights of philosophy and the very heights of creation. So I can't. I'm sorry. I'm gushing and enthusiastic, but this is just, I don't know. I mean, we're overflowing, but in a good way this time. I mean, a good way. But I mean, it's yeah, and again, I think for me, once again, I feel it important to mark the limits of what you call the grammatological, and other people call the grammatological, but what is the grammatological schema that attempts to capture the voice and root it to meaning. But what you've done practically and really experimentally is brought the voice to its sensorium. And that to me is, again, a fantastic achievement in such a succinct, short period of burst of creation. Bravo, bravo. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. You're like insanely talented, and I don't know if I can add a lot. I mean, I can talk about it. I don't know if it's interesting, so probably I shouldn't. But you know, like this kind of like Elizabethan music, like Elizabethan chant, you know, like this, how it always feels like some form of wailing or crying. You know, like, it always makes me think about like this environment, like this like very, I would say like heavily decorated and, you know, like full of like carved wood and then there's like these voices that feel like they are wailing, and I was always wondering, you know, is this because they are at the same time trying to mirror and also like, how to say, muffle the sounds of the people they are torturing in the catacombs? And you know, I mean, I don't know, I think there's always like a dimension to culture, you know, like there's always a dimension to aesthetics that somehow represses but also incorporates, you know, like it incorporates the repressed or it represses the incorporated. I don't know exactly how to put it, but I thought it was really poignant that you brought this into this place, because I think like everybody is trying to find a vocabulary to voice this grief, and also like everybody's is trying to, you know, everybody's struggling with the discomfort of being here, and we've seen it like emerging, you know, like a great many times in the works of all of you, and I thought that it was like, you know, quite perfect to end with your piece. Because, you know, like it perfectly captures this, you know, like this grief, this that is, yeah, I would say at once incorporating, but also like repressing, which is, I guess, something that reflects the condition we are in. And I don't mean it in any way as a critique. Yep.
Thank you so much for this, Mark. I feel like if there was such a thing as a secular mass, this is what it would have looked like. I thought that it was a very spiritual moment. I don't mean religious, I mean spiritual. And it was at times both mystical and mystifying. And in that regard, I think that it's testament to your talent that you can create this atmosphere like we are attending a religious moment. And there was, I don't know if you noticed that because you're performing, but you could hear a drop pin in the room. It was absolute stillness. And the only other place I've heard stillness like that is in church. And the fact that you created that through your performance at one of the most troubled times. And at the moment where I'm not going to speak on behalf of anyone, but I know my students, so I'm going to assume your experiences are not so different. Everyone is very worried and I would say scared of uncertainty, what the future will entail, and that you created this communal moment this moment of stillness and contemplation through your music, this moment of standing next to each other, you managed to break the 1.5 meter rule by bringing everyone's spirit together. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank everyone also for being present in that quiet stillness and in that moment of contemplation. And I feel very privileged to have witnessed that. Thank you, Mark. Okay, I'll keep this one.
Okay, let's just. Yes, I guess it demands patience and empathy to be also the last one to sit it through, and in a way, I always admire that. And yeah, thank you for this work. I was initially reading your the blurb, and then thought, he, they, I do not know what your pronouns are, but it sounds like they're describing Creole or Creolization or Pidgin, and then the intro, I think it's Afrikaans, was it? What language was that? Yeah. Oh, but it seems like so Dutch. But I realized Swiss German is also sometimes so close in because I understood many of the sentences, and then somehow I was associating, thinking, what language is this? I have to ask, because now I'm only guessing. Good to know that somehow I did not recognize it when you used it. Yeah, I feel a lot has been said. I was really thinking about this idea of stretching language to kind of also almost, I was really thinking about singing and the voice having the capability of what you speak about as the spell-like image. But I was also thinking about maybe it can, somewhere you were saying, I guess now I'm completely lost in thought. But yeah, this sonic intervention that actually allows us to be somehow present in the mess of this current situation, but also in the mess of the space, in the mess of the exhaustion, and at the same time to be taking alongside on really for me personally at a stretch in multiple ways, stretch of time, but also stretch of the possible probability of what voice could do. And lastly, what I would say is, I was really also thinking about the different forms of using wailing or keening or all these different tools that people perform in various forms of mourning and praise songs. And so it made me think also about that in this current moment, in this current context. But these are all merely like just interpretations in the moment. So either way, thanks.
I was thinking about the opera and about the fact that in the opera, which I visited as a young kid, and not that much later on, they always handed out librettos, because in the libretto you could kind of figure out what in all this singing, the narrative was. So it needed like extra aid that would break through sort of pretty abstract sound of the opera, where you're supposed to appreciate the mastery of voice, but not really follow the content. So libretto was a kind of aid given to the viewers to kind of lead them through, or give them a little bit of a pretext, let's say narrative pretext. Which then made me think about the very special role of the diva in the opera. And the diva is often, as we know, for instance, quite extensively from performance work of Jael Davids, who is based in Amsterdam, is the one who often is supposed to die in the last scene, in a very kind of dramatic closure of the performance. And the next step of that would be this notion of troubled times, and troubled times require perhaps extraordinary means. And the opera was a very unlikely place to put such subversive intentions, but I know of two such instances where this role of the opera diva was taken over by a male singer, actually. And I would say the first one to me was around 1970, where Julius Eastman performed in an opera by Russell Maxwell Davies called Songs for a Mad King, and was an absolutely breathtaking performance, after which Eastman, who decided to give up on his career as an opera singer, has not done anything of that kind, and he moved on to compose music and perform music. And the second instance was also a sort of operatic performance, but of one particular song only, and I'm thinking about the Cold Song, performed by Klaus Nomi from Henry Purcell's opera Aeneas and Dido, around 1980 something. So these are both completely bewildering performances, both done in this sort of pitch that you describe as, pitching your voice slightly higher than natural. The question remains, what is natural and what is going, beyond the norm? In this case, the assumption of this high-pitched voice by a male performer in both cases, in the performance of Eastman in Songs for a Mad King, and Klaus Nomi in the Cold Song by Henry Purcell, seemed to be a means to achieve a transgression of both the genre, the capacities of the singer, the natural properties of the singer, and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of multiple transgression that is made possible through pushing the performance to the extreme. And since you indeed, as Amit said, brought voice to its sensorium, I can only wish you that you reach the heights that you are aiming at, because it's a dangerous path. Okay. Thank you.
We made it. Seemed unbelievable 2 days ago, but look at us. We made it on time, 10 minutes earlier. Where are you going? Okay. Don't leave. I have to thank you. Okay, so we start. We roll with the thank you, but first, my love letter. I had to reverse the order. So, I apologize for mispronouncing everybody's name at least once, for the stuttering and the shouting. But then again, we are in a place where vulnerability is nourished. And I apologize on behalf of the virus for limiting your contact and proximity. I wish the world would have developed a more sustainable kind of biopolitics that renders us free to exist as we feel. Thanks to those who were here and those who could not, but nonetheless chose to be part of it in some ways. And welcome everybody to the season of the harvest of tears. The question I'd like to pose to you now is, what are you taking with you on your way home? And towels. Memories and bodies, because they do carry all theories. What kind of histories will you choose to rewrite? Whom are you going to write them with? Here is where you have just begun to intertwine your thread with others. Where will you take your desire while you're nourishing others? If they ask us to keep a certain distance, will we listen? Can we hear each other's demands? To think of entitlement and endurance is to think of upheaval. To think of the skin is to think of upheaval. And in these 3 days, I feel you've upheaved. Somehow nostalgically, because you could all remember what it meant to discover one another. But also, together, we've all experienced longing all along. While all that we wanted to do was just to dance and to sing with each other the way we wanted it. A sense of immunity that comes from a desire that can overcome any fear. We can only resist the existing economy of time. For whatever will come, I wish you emotions and everlasting commotion. When I think of you people, when I think that you exist in this world, I feel safe. And as I said last year, none of this production would have existed outside of this collective share. So I would like to thank you, students, respondents, technicians, staff, and all, for giving me a great breath of fresh air and genuine tears of gratitude, inspiration, and strength in these dark times we're all going through. We only exist as a we, as only together we overcome distance. Thank you all dearly. And now, warm up your hands and throats. Thank you, Flavia. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Amal. Thank you, Amit. And thank you, Anna, for your generosity, your time, your physical, emotional, and intellectual effort. Thank you, Radio Kutwijk. René, Elko, Ingrid, Marcel, and Karin, and Matthias Achterkamp. Thank you, Raul and Mia, for the logistical assistance. Thank you, Lulu, for the technical assistance. Thank you, Wilf and Dinah, for the driving assistance. Thank you, Nikos. Thank you, Sanne. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jacques. Thank you forever, Jacques. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you, Gorky.
You have to thank the little dog.
Thank you, Karin, Titus, and Pichaya. Thank you, Riccardo and Peter. And then she asked me not to do it, but I cannot not do this. Thank you, Gabrielle. And I end on the mic.
Thank you, Julia. Actually, I need to put lipstick. I haven't been wearing lipstick for 3 days. And for what I'm now going to do, I actually need to have lipstick to go back in that role. I'm not going to repeat all the thank yous that were so earned and so deserved. I'm going to do something entirely different. I first want to say that this is not our farewell. It's the official ending of your studies, because we are going to make sure that those of you who have handed in the thesis and everything can have their formal graduation on time in all the logistics of the government and what is required, etc., etc. But of course, you know, last year we all think back of what we had in Cagliari, and we are so sad and we are longing that, yeah, that's so long ago, it seems so long ago. But we're going to try to come together in September, and we still have to perform a very important part of what we do at the DAI. What our respondents have been witnessing has been just one part of the work. You have been doing an incredible work individually, but still completely together, I think. Nevertheless, we still have to also wrap up the work that was most difficult this year, and that was in the co-ops that we consider so important, and with all these fantastic tutors that are also there. I mean, the thesis, many of you have performed, some still have to, but I want to say that what we are going to do in September is also try and show that that collective work that was so disrupted, or maybe even destroyed partly because of everything that happened, we're still going to try and bring that to an end and have a farewell. But actually, that's not why I'm standing here. I'm going to keep a tiny bit more of your attention to do something that I have been I've been pushing forward because I didn't want to do it. It's the thing that I hate most to do, and therefore I'm just going to do it only metaphorically or not allegorically, I learned today, in no way. I'm going to ask a question, and I need assistance for a visual. I hope it's coming. Whose feet are this? Whose feet are this? And I stole this work. It was part of a work. I hope the maker of the work is not too embarrassed that I did that, but it was brought in the world by the maker, who is an incredible artist. You still don't guess. Ricardo. These are Ricardo's feet. And I'm guessing, maybe I'm wrong, don't correct me, Ricardo. Ricardo has been correcting me a lot, I can tell you, in the past 12, 13 years. He's one of the very few persons who can tell me, Gabriella, I think that's really bad idea. And he said that quite often, I can tell you. I guess these are Ricardo's feet in Suriname, and I think. And there are skates. These are Netherlands. This is very much how we have lived and worked with Ricardo. I'm getting emotional, and I know Ricardo hates it, but I'm going to go through it, so I'm doing it. Ricardo was the first person that came on board when I became director. I hired him, the first one, and he's the first one who's going to retire, which I deeply regret and actually don't want. So what we are going to do, we are going to say that we are not going to say farewell. So this is a prelude to a sort of official farewell, but it's also an invitation. So, yeah. This is where the DAI once was, and Ricardo knows it very well. I don't know if there is anybody in the room who knows where this is. It's Enschede. Who said that? Yeah, you do. Nikos knows it, of course. Nikos was a student at DAI when we were here in Enschede. And Ricardo, who has been commuting always, since he was at the DAI, but long before, between Enschede and Hengelo, this is all the east of the Netherlands. Amal was speaking of Zutphen, but Enschede and Hengelo is even more. And Ricardo studied at this campus. And at this campus, this is an artwork, by the way. This campus is the campus of a technical university, and Ricardo studied there. But in Enschede there also was a famous art school, actually. A long time ago it was an independent art school. Independent art schools are being destroyed these days, but okay. Ricardo was both at the technological university and at the art school. And he came to work with the DAI, which was a great opportunity for him because we had this crazy program of coming together only once per month. So in between, he could go and visit his mom in Suriname. So for many years, Ricardo was really commuting between Suriname and Enschede and the DAI. Many more stories to tell, and we're going to do that because Ricardo, as a prelude to a farewell somewhere in the future, because this is only a formal goodbye because you're officially retired. But you know, Ricardo is an incredible artist. I think many of you know it, but not all. And artists, of course, never retire. And as an artist, you will stay connected to the DAI. So maybe Sanne and Jack, if they are around. First part of what we are offering to the prelude of a farewell is an invitation. Yeah, maybe Ricardo should come here. He doesn't want to, I know, but... Ricardo, so yesterday evening, because I didn't prepare this, there was so much work, and I was, as I said, pushing this forward, but I went through the emails, and you know, I think there were maybe 10,000 emails going back and forth between you and me, and I've kept them all. Ricardo is the sort of person that if I wrote an email in the middle of the night, Ricardo, I pushed the button and the website completely disappeared. And he would write back 3 o'clock, I'm going to bring it back, don't worry. and that was always what happened, but there was a lot of emails, also emails where I found back a lot of your stories. Not only is Ricardo a visual artist, he's also a writer of stories, and a storyteller, and someone who goes back and reminiscences. So what we are going to offer you as a prelude to a farewell, nothing more and less, is a walk that you have to guide, because we're actually not going to make you stop working. We want to come with the team, the extended team, which of course includes Sylvia and Sanne and Rick and all these people. We want a walk over the fields of the campus in Enschede, guided by you, because you know every corner and you know so many stories there. And then we're going to have dinner together, and that's the formal prelude ending. Maybe I can have some other visual. As said, actually, there was one thing that Ricardo often said to me as he was trying to instruct me how I should lead the institution. He was saying, monkey see, monkey do. And with that he meant that people, if you give the good example, then people will do the same, which I always kept, because you have been doing that so much, I have to say. But we're now going to do something very unoriginal. We're going to actually copy your work a tiny bit by commissioning to extend it. So first we're going to ask, who's that? She's actually very nearby, very close by. Ah, okay, now I'm mistaken. Ah, he is in the room, and he's trying to hide. You worked with him for 3 days. This is Peter. Okay, next one. Who's that? It's not a work by Diane Arbus. It's Jack. Next one. This is Nikos. And who's that? Can you guess? Yeah, that's Rick. So for those who are here, Rick hasn't been here. His health condition wouldn't allow him to be here with us, but this is Rick. This is the last picture, but we're going to reveal the commission that we are going to give you. So here it is. So it's not going in retirement. We're going to commission you. You have to know that Ricardo is also the maker of hundreds of names and faces booklets, which he all has been sewing himself. Maybe we can have the last picture, Nikos. Because sewing is something that Ricardo is, oh, we forgot that one, that was Sanne. Oh yeah. There's more. Oh, there's more, let's go, let's do them quickly. Sanne. Is it Sylvia? Yeah, Sylvia. Okay, here's Ricardo. And we end with this image. This is Ricardo in his beautifully self-knitted sweater. And as you know, after 1 or 2 years of wearing a sweater, he unravels it again and then he knits a new sweater with the same threads. And, you know, we've always been enjoying that. But we're going to commission you, and Ricardo made numerous names and faces booklets. His official job at the DAI was doing technical support, but he has been doing a lot of work around it, and also in the last years he was gradually more and more invited to become part of sessions and classes. He has also been making books and archives of pictures and memories, as he's always doing in his work. So the commission will be, we're going to have pictures from, hopefully, all the graduates of the DAI, and in their young age. Why we do that? Because Ricardo has been, as I said, monkey see, monkey do. We're going to copy the work that you are doing yourself, but we want to have a beautiful book where we can see, exactly as you have been seeing, the places where all the people that you have met in all these years, because it's many years now, where they all came from in their beginnings, and where they later moved became a lot of other stories. So that is a commission, and we keep you at work. And, you know, this is only a formal moment. It's nothing like forever, not at all. So I hope that you forgive us for doing this to you at this moment. And we're sending you home with work. And I really want a very, very warm applause, because the formal moment is still something, it marks something, even though we will see each other again. So, Ricardo, thank you for everything and for the things to come.
Als je wil hoor. Nee, wil je niet?
Drinks. Oh, and yes, of course, Bethany, thank you saving my life. Of course we thank Julia. She thanked all of us, and we thanked her implicitly, but let's give her a big, 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 big thank you. Yeah, sorry, we had to do this.
No, it's very important. Come on, it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for all this work, and you know, that's doesn't
No,
matter.
but
it
also
has
it's
to-
very emotional with Ricardo, I have to say.
I can
so.
imagine. Yes. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. You begin together, so that's a different.
No, but also you don't want to know what incredible force.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like a grunt. I'm an old woman.
Mooi gedaan. Prachtig.
Here we go. I don't know. But then I feel loud.
You what?
I feel loud.
Where? Do you see it somewhere?
It was
On the somewhere?
I'm calling everybody. Is that weird? Somebody should stop the live stream with the sound, because they hear everything. Yeah, that's a good one. Elon Musk ist